Hello, everybody. My name is River Dalcom, and welcome to the 59th episode of Speaking with Autism. Even though this is the 16th of June, I've been very busy, but I've also. June is two things. Well, three things, actually. It's Pride Month, it's all my gay, LGBTQ, lesbians, everybody, friends. I love you all so much. June is also Men's Mental Health Awareness Month and also PTSD Awareness Month. So I want to. So, do you know that 600,000 men have suffered or going through a lot of mental health problems, of going through what's going inside their heads, like anxiety, or even something deeper than that, and that's, suicide or everything. So why is men's mental health very important to all of us, including myself, who's a man? Well, I think it's time that I tell my story of myself struggling with mental health. So, as you all know, this channel is about autism. So I was spreading the word for autism. When I was 3 years old, I was diagnosed with that. I almost had the inability to speak. It was a really tough challenge, and I was starving myself. My parents, mostly my dad, was trying to help me out, to eat, because if I don't eat, I might die or starvation. But that is the continuation of what's happening. Then, 4th or 5th grade, when I was 8 or 9 years old, I had a seizure when coming home from a Boy Scout Pinewood Derby meet. It was when Nacogdoches had a mall, and after that I fell. I was on the car seat and I was throwing up really bad. But then the next one was at home when we were just chilling out. I stood in the bathroom, got out. I was standing there and I just basically blacked out and couldn't even remember what happened. And I had no idea what was going on. It was just petty malls after petty malls. Then later on in life, during middle school and 8th grade, doing gym class, having a good time as always. Then I felt something strange. Like I felt lightheaded. I could barely feel my body moving, or just felt light. Then all out of nowhere, I just fell flat on my face. Couldn't remember what happened or who I was. And then when I woke up, a friend of mine, who was my tutor, Terry, was holding my hand. I couldn't even remember why she was holding my hand. All I remembered was just blacking out, and I couldn't remember why. Then lastly, when 16 years old, I was revealed that I have autism, and of course I was upset and angry, because why my own parents hide this from me from all these years that they knew. They weren't sure how to explain it or how I was going to react. I reacted what anybody would have done if I hadn't been told all this time, was be upset and angry and disappointed. But I understood why. Then my last seizure came at 2022 March, after dropping off friends from grocery shopping. I was just casually playing with my dog, and then I just blacked out again, and I thought, this is really scary to even explain. I thought to myself that this was going to be the end. I literally thought I was going to die. But I'm happy I'm still here. But going through with my mental health crisis, there were times where high school, throughout most of my life, I was an outsider. I tried to fit in as much as I could, both middle school, college, also life in general. I couldn't figure out what to do with myself. But the only thing I ever thought of fitting in was theater. But when I did choir in middle school, 6th grade, I was the only boy. It felt weird to be the only boy in a group full of girls. So then when 7th and 8th grade, there were more boys coming in. It, it was crazy, nice, but there were times where like I faced really tough anxiety on stage because back then I used to have stage fright, like very bad stage fright. I was crying so bad, I just couldn't handle it. But now I can perform on stage like it's nothing, but still, there are times where like I have anxiety or just so deprived that I have no idea what to do. There are times where like I just cry in my bed for no reason and can't even explain. And also, and during in public, I haven't cried in public in like a decade, which is a huge accomplishment to me. But I just have to. But I want you all, and I had to remind myself that it's okay to let go. It's okay to feel pain. Just let everything out. And I was depressed at sometimes. I even thought about taking my own life because I thought, nobody cared about me. I'm just a tool that I'm just never gonna be remembered. And that was the one thing I was scared about, was that I am still to this day, I have a fear of being forgotten, being alone, because I thought if I can just join a group or have friends that I can have or be with, I don't have to feel alone. I'm scared of being an island, but I'm a man, and I know all of y'all feel that too. But bear with me with this: you're a man, not an island, and I had to remind myself that too. And I keep telling this to my friends: you're a person, not an island, and you have people who absolutely care about you. But you have to be careful with those who are your real friends, because there are so many people who claim to be your friends, but they're not really. And I had to deal with that too, especially with relationships, because there was one person that I actually liked in high school. We went to prom together, but then later on, she showed her true colors and turned out to be a liar and a narcissist. And so I had a lot of growing up to do. Still to this day, I have so much growing up to do that it's not even funny. There are times where like I was ghosted and I wasn't sure if I did anything wrong until I actually talked to someone and say, "Hey, is there something wrong?" And they would say, "You're all good." And I just wanted to make sure again that I thought there are things I did wrong, and I am sorry if I offended anybody, because or something I said either on social media or in person. I'll admit I have a hard time trying to maintain myself of what I say. I'm still working on that. And there are times where like I used to be so angry, where all that anger comes from is from me. I'm just fed up of trying to find a place where I belong. Like I keep asking myself, God, what am I here? What was I made for? Was I made here to just be a burden to not only to my family or myself or my friends? Why am I even here? And I talk to my parents a lot, even my brother, because my brother has gone through this. And I don't want you all to feel the same pain as I have, because I'm either going through so much hell that I just want to have peace within myself. And I just always have to remember that, just like y'all, you guys have so many family or friends that care about you, and I had to go through that. And what I had in 2020 was like the lowest point of my life, because I was in severe depression of quarantining myself, which we all were at the times. But in my opinion, 2022 was like the worst year of my life, especially going through a lot. But things got even worse last year when I lost childhood friend of mine who was my best friend, but showed his true colors, and I was saying to myself that now I'm alone again. But then I had to grow up. I grew up. I had to figure out who I am. But then later on, this year, I thought I lost someone, and social media is way different than it is in person. But I thought again that I did something wrong, so until we finally talked, and it wasn't a ghosting. It was more of like, it's just privacy and secrecy, and I don't like to share that information because it's undisclosed. And to this day I'm still dealing with my mental health. There are times where the only thing is I do plays. That's my therapy. Theater is my therapy, but so is going to the gym. I've been going back last week. My body is sore, and I've been going in again to try to have a healthy life, because the hardest thing that I've been dealing with right now is drinking sodas a lot. And I drink plenty of water, but there are times where like I could go on like 2 or 3 sodas, and it's not healthy. And I'm battling with the temptation over that. So, and I'm really, really working on it to be a better person and try to maintain my mental health, my mental and physical well-being, and who I am as a person. And I hope you all, whoever are watching this video, can understand that you're not alone. We men are never alone. The only thing that makes us alone is being surrounded by those who make us feel alone. And I'm working on it. I'm doing the best I can. None of us are perfect. If we were the same, we all be boring, and boring is not fun. And that's the one thing, and that's the thing that some of us are afraid of. It's being boring, being misunderstood, being ghosted, and not knowing who we are and why we're here. So always remember, you're still here because you matter, because I matter, everybody else here matters. And don't be afraid to ask. Call your family, call your friends, or go to the suicide hot prevention number, the 988 suicide hotline number, because there's nothing worse than not getting help, because that's what I had to do. I had to ask my parents for help, and I'm gonna be doing the same thing to my friends, like, hey, I need to talk to you, there's something going on with me. And I thank you all for coming to this video. Normally I would say please comment, like, and subscribe, and ring the bell, so I just did that. But I want to leave out by saying this: you're loved no matter what, and everything is going to be okay, because you all matter, and everything is gonna be alright. My name is River Delcom, and I speak autism, and tomorrow will be the debut of What Should We Discuss by River Delcom, so tune in for that. Y'all have a nice day.